My dad's new wife demanded I pay them rent to live in my own house. My life has always felt like it started with a debt I could never repay. You see, my mom passed away in hospital while giving birth to me. I never got to meet her, never got to feel her hold me, but her absence was the single most present thing in my childhood. My dad raised me, if you can call it that. To him, I wasn't a son. I was a living, breathing reminder of his greatest loss. He somehow looked at me, a literal baby, and decided I was to blame for his wife's death. Growing up, there wasn't a single day that went by without him reminding me of my original sin. It was never a direct, "This is your fault," but it was worse, woven into the fabric of our lives in 1,000 cutting ways. "Your mother would have loved this," he'd say with a sigh, looking at a sunset, the unspoken part hanging in the air. "If you hadn't taken her from me." He'd tell me constantly how my birth had ripped away the person he loved the most, and sometimes, in his darker moments, he'd admit that he never really wanted me in the first place. That hope lasted for exactly 1 month. He called me one evening, his voice tight with a desperation I hadn't heard in years. He confessed that he'd made some terrible financial decisions and was in deep trouble. He hadn't paid the rent on his apartment in 6 months, and an eviction notice was on the door. After I refused to give him money, I made a compromise. He and his new wife could stay in my house, rent-free, until they got back on their feet. Big mistake. 1 month later, his wife sent me down to tell me that since my dad had helped pay for my house, it was time for me to start paying them rent to live in my own home. The full story is on the channel. Link in description.